Good morning, afternoon or evening, and welcome back to the Persian Civil War Stockfish versus Thankforpie series of games. It's 1-1 currently in the series after 2 games, with Thankforpie having developed incredibly quickly and won the first game in a pretty even contest. However, in the second game he got a little bit arrogant, pushed on to Stockfish's civic centre very early and was forced back and beaten away quite comprehensively. So it's 1-1. And with Stockfish maintaining his thing of playing in the red and Thankforpie continuing to play in the cyan colour, we'll see how particularly Thankforpie approaches this, because his quick development and gradual expansion idea of the first game worked really well, but his attempt to really put the pressure on a little bit earlier in the second game really backfired. It was a much shorter game. So let's see how it goes. So as with always, Thankforpie has done his usual send women off to the far corners of his map to get a house building program going. Early on he's slightly behind in population, but let's see what's he produced. He's gone for 10 women, but he's also gone for the 4 skirmishers, which I think is a good thing to do. Pretty solid response. So Stockfish is continuing to build with 4 people building a single house, while Thankforpie's approach is, as I said before, is very different. It's 1 person on a house, but on more houses all at once, which is slightly more efficient. The only thing is, early on you may find yourself getting housed, so you need to build up a bit of a backlog, and I think you'll find is that no, okay, I'll take it all back. I thought he would have had a few houses being built by groups of people to get himself a big population advantage, but he is 15 up in terms of his pop cap and his actual population, so he should be fine as it goes. But if we have a look at the map, it's very similar to the previous ones. In terms of additional resources, we've got extra metal for Stockfish. That's very, very useful. He's also got extra stone as well, actually. But the metal particularly is useful with all the mercenaries that you need to have. And he's got an additional metal here and another one here, and there's a couple more over there. So I think it would make sense to see people starting to expand out to get that extra metal. We've got 2 metals in this base as well, but there's not more metal around there, so that could impact on the decisions in terms of the makeup of the armies and things, because catapults only cost stone and wood, and with all this extra stone, perhaps Thankforpie's approach could be to look along those along that kind of idea, and to use a grinding siege war with a handful of bolt shooters potentially supporting that. What he could also do is look to make a quick slinger attack. He's got plenty of stone very near his base, so he could, once he's finished his scouting and he notices there's more stone over here as well, then it's a very good idea for him to get a load of slingers going very early. They also make up for the fact there's not a huge amount of wood. There's decent wood, but not huge coverings anywhere, and that can have an impact as well in how people approach this. So we're only under 4 minutes in. Stockfish has got a 6 population advantage. He started farming prior to actually finishing his berries, which is good for the transition, and we can see that the same is true of Thankforpie, although he's going to have 4 fields up by the time his berries finish, which is very, very good. Has he got any upgrades? He hasn't got any upgrades at this stage, and Stockfish doesn't either. Neither went for the berry upgrade, which is strange on an autumn biome, because you quite often get additional bits of berry bushes lying around in different places. We've also got here an early barracks, inside the first 5 minutes, and he's getting the metal, so he's already starting to get that metal going. No upgrades in terms of getting it more quickly, but again, trying to make sure that it's got plenty of scope to build the skirmishers. If you can get metal early with the Ptolemies, then that's a big bonus, because you need to have fewer women on your fields, because you don't need as much food, because half of the food cost for mercenaries is made up of metal. So that's interesting, and that's kind of the approach that he's going for. If we look from Thankforpie's perspective, he's now seeing quite a lot of the map, and Stockfish, no exploration whatsoever at all. He's giving this additional food from this small group of deer, which again, hunting is quite a good thing to utilise on these maps. So he's getting as much metal as he can early on. You know, having this many people, what's that? 16 on metal this early, plus on a second metal thing another 5 is certainly a lot. So Stockfish now, Thankforpie, has only just started really looking at metal in any great depth. He's only got 5 people on there. So from his perspective, he's not been able to produce then as many skirmishers. He's also got a load of women at the back here doing nothing, which isn't good. So he's got his skirmishers, actually he's got more skirmishers than I thought, so I take that back. He's also seen that he's got these additional things of stone, so I think we should see him moving towards those relatively shortly. Certainly by the time he gets to phase 2, he's going to be when he can start producing the slingers, which will become available. That's the time for him to really start hammering that stone. But as it stands, he's just gone into a 5 population lead. Everyone's still at phase 1, and it's all progressing rather sedately at the moment. No one's really pushing on, and I'm a bit surprised with Stockfish just how he's not bothered to check out much of the map at all, which, as you can see, he's got these 2 groups of trees, but he doesn't know where he might want to be building out towards, other than this small patch of trees here. So if we look at the thing outside of his line of sight, there's a massive group of trees there. So and there's another one just here. He could do with potentially putting a barracks in a location like this. That would be ideal. It allows him to get access to the stone, and it also allows him to get access to the wood here very quickly. Right.
Yeah, see?
That's now up to 21 people on metal, so he's producing skirmishers in large amounts from both the Civic Centre and his barracks. Whereas Thankforpie, he's just got the 1 barracks. He does. I thought he may well have got himself another one early on. He's producing spearmen, and these 5 women will, having done nothing, will now be going to build a field, presumably. Yep, and they are, and they're moving back to build a field next to the farmstead. That will be field number 7 for him, which is a good number of fields. And if we look, Thankforpie has some skirmishes, but he's certainly huge population of female citizens rather than soldiers. And for Stockfish, that's a very different makeup. So rather than having 2/3 women, he's only got 1/3, which means he's more prepared for an attack, and the fact that he's managed to keep the population so similar while producing more soldiers is definitely an advantage for Stockfish at this stage. So he's started to split these guys into, he's got those 6. Now I thought it's interesting because he's got he wants 6 people on stone. He's actually got 6 pikemen, so he could do with just making the pikemen be on stone, and that way it's easier to move them about than it is to try and move his people. If he wants to move just off metal, at the moment he's got a mixture of both troops. It's very difficult for him to just gather the people that are on metal and move them away. So now we've got Thankforpie is now at the town phase, and with his knowledge of the map, he's moving outwards, but he's not actually, I expected, because of the way he's played in previous times, that he might well build an onward expansion and that being actually not an onward expansion in terms of being more forward, but just expanding himself to the sides to access these two things of stone. That said, that's not what's happened at this stage. So although the other prediction does appear to be coming true, he is starting to produce slingers, which is pretty useful when you've got all this additional stone lying around. Stockfish, you can see his camel is just here, he's only just starting to scout the map in any great depth, and I think that camel may well die before it gets any further. He's managed to get it to go a little bit further, but I thought they'd managed to walk all the way through and he started chasing, but there's no way these three pikemen are going to catch that camel, so that's a waste of time. So up goes the market. 1, 2 towers, and is there another? Yeah, and a blacksmith. That will be enough for him to very quickly move to phase 3. If we look at his resources, he's going to probably trade as much as he can, food or wood, whatever he can get, for stone. His metal's looking great, and he'll try and make a quick phase 3. That's the way he goes. But if we look at the populations, they continue to be very similar. So is Thankforpie going to make that trade that I'm anticipating? Possibly not. I guess we'll find out. Perhaps he's going to try and actually just dig the... There he is, he's bartered the stone in exchange for metal, and that should be enough for him to go to phase 3, and that's exactly what he's doing. It's a very quick phase 2. We've got Stockfish on phase 2. He is building an onward expansion. Again, I'm not sure about the location of that. Would have preferred to see it out here. There it would bring access. It would allow him to actually get troops to each of these resources much more quickly than he can from back here. And the other thing about this is the only place for him to get swordsmen. So if he wants to use swordsmen let's say, for example, to try and chop down some catapults, they're a long way to the back. But Thankforpie has been in the previous games using. If we got the expansion, there's no expansion yet, but he is bartering continually, presumably to attempt to get enough. Once phase 3 comes, he wants to build a fortress, and I can think we'd anticipate these group of people building a fortress. It's exactly what's happened. So at the moment it's going to take 8 minutes 19 seconds. I didn't realise they took us quite as long. Now they're thinking 3 minutes 51 with that number of people. Stockfish is attacking him somewhere. Is it? It's just this camel. So that camel is quite just simply distracting. It's not doing anything, but it's keeping his troops away from here, and now they're anticipating this is going to take about 30 seconds with the very large group of people building it. So with that fortress, will he continue his sort of moves to use the siege towers? So another barracks, another storehouse. We've got again slingers coming. It's only his second barracks. He's normally someone that likes to produce a large number of barracks to really keep piling out the soldiers, especially as Ptolemy's barracks are 200 stone, and he's got so much stone. It would make sense to just build as many barracks as possible, but he may well be saving that stone to get himself some catapults. So let's wait and see what's going to happen. Ironically, considering he's got lots of stone, he's actually just short of the amount required to build a catapult. Now which hero he will go for? We've seen Cleopatra used a lot. She will offer them more. Their range units will fire more quickly. Stockfish has started to kill off his women, some sort of matricide, or was it femicide? I don't know, it's been described as. So they were used to build stuff earlier on, but now he wants to focus his population mostly around an army. Now that his economy is going, he's going to kill off the additional women that are no longer required. It's brutal, but I guess it's probably not unrealistic in the way that the world used to be. Fortunately, people aren't anywhere near as expendable anymore as they used to be. Right, so what do we have here? He's putting up his fortress. Okay, 3 siege towers. He is going for the siege tower route, and he is building his barracks. So that will give him 4 barracks once that's complete. They're quite far back, so I prefer to have the barracks. I mean, it's good that they're all grouped together, because at least your soldiers, that means wherever you're attacking or getting your muster point, they'll get there at a similar time. The worst thing is when you have your barracks all spread out, and what then happens is you order, say, 5 skirmishers from each. They arrive 5 at a time, just getting themselves picked off before eventually they've all died and done very little. Whereas at least if you had the 4 barracks together, then 20 are arriving at once. That's a much better position. He started to do this. In terms of his thing, he's still got women building houses, despite the fact that his population is at its capacity. So unless he's going to build a wonder, and I don't know if wonders are allowed in this game, then he doesn't need to keep building houses. Stockfish is at maximum population capacity, and he still hasn't built his fortress. He still hasn't got a hero. So I feel that potentially so we've got the hero again is Cleopatra, as per previous times. This is where Thankforpie is going to begin to make his move. So he's on 167. He's got a smaller population, but that's not as negative as it may seem, because it gives him scope to produce much tougher soldiers, champions, etc. You can see he's killed off a load of the women there that were like chopping down trees, and this is his army that he's going to attack with. Because of the size of the map, they're still quite a long way from one another. So yeah, it is quite surprising. I think that Thankforpie possibly once bitten, twice shy with his previous attempt to effectively transplant his army onto the doorstep of his opponent. He has, however, managed to secure this metal, which is very, very useful, and he does this all the time. He loves these Macedonian settler cavalry. He buys, or trains rather, like 10 of them, like all the time. I don't know exactly what use they have. If he knew that Stockfish was pretty much just women and just farming basically round his civic centre, then they would be a really useful unit, because as they charge in, they can effectively kill a woman in no time. So he would therefore be in a very, very strong. They can be very strong, because while there's lots of other fighting going on, you don't necessarily even realise that that it's your women in your civic centre that are being attacked. What do we have? Yeah, he's moving outwards, but again, no one's really fortifying these onward positions. What I've seen a lot in the past, but we're not seeing today is, a really militarised zone with towers, fortresses, lots of barracks, things like that, coming up in the centre of the map in an attempt to kind of wrest control from the other player. They're both, being quite timid at the moment. This is the way that Stockfish has played all 3 games, and I think it's the way that certainly Thankforpie played the first game. So Thankforpie is probably thinking, well, it worked for me to be a bit more static and not to be quite so aggressive in the first game. So let's follow that path again. So let's have a look. He's got one slinger who's his scout. And speaking of scout, it's interesting that no one's built any lookout, any watchtowers. So let's have a look. What's he got? A couple of elephants hiding in the corner there. So those, he has obviously a plan for those. and he is bringing forth now quite an army. And as I anticipated, it's going to be slingers that are the main bulk of that force. They will be very, very good units. He's with the bonus that comes from Cleopatra. This, though, is going to be the end of that onward settlement. These guys are going to be gone in no time. So we've got two big fights going on. And in the centre, it looks very much like Stockfish is, well, it doesn't look very much like Stockfish is retreating. However, around this side he is he going to, these two things of metal is interesting that his army is not going to capture this, or are they going to capture now? They are going to, and he's, Thankforpie has destroyed it wisely. As we move towards the centre, Thankforpie's army is closing in, and he does have a good, a well balanced force. He's also got these siege towers, and it's forcing Stockfish back. One of his elephants is now coming in down the side. We've got a few elephants coming from there, and this group of elephants are coming in a kind of pincer movement. They're trying to squeeze them and also to take over these catapults. What's he got out here? He's left Cleopatra out there. I think that's an oversight on his part, but these elephants are just going to be massacred unless he can take out these other guys from the back. He needs to get his elephants round to attack the siege towers or the catapults, and at the minute they're just going to get themselves in a lot of trouble. This is, wow. Yeah, they're going to be taken down by the slingers. Although the slingers, some of them were facing the other way. The pathfinder on the elephants is absolutely dreadful, and they're dying because they're bumping into themselves. Okay, this group of elephants should be able to take out the siege towers. He's trying to get the siege towers, and the elephants got distracted again. There does need to be something in the game that actually prioritises troops against those units that they are most able to attack. Okay, he needs to take out this catapult as well. Can he do that? I mean, looking at population, Stockfish has really done a good job of forcing Thankforpie back, and he's looking in quite a difficult place here. Now, if Stockfish is able to push on, then there's not a lot back home for Thankforpie to rely on. If this elephant can just take out this catapult, which it will do in a matter of seconds, that's gone. He's got things he could do with. No, they're just regrouping. Oh, he needs to stop these elephants that are coming in here, and he's noticed that and is doing exactly that. So just needs, 20 odd skirmishers would deal with these elephants relatively quickly, but that's not an option available to him at the moment. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so he is bringing forward groups of, again, much the same as before. It's skirmishers and it's slingers and the what are they called? The spearmen that are going to be the main force of the army. Due to the fact that his army does have excess amounts of stone and limited metal, he briefly tried to get this metal and it didn't really come off. Just wonder what the hell's going on there. Why has he left Cleopatra there? She's not doing anything. I think he might have just forgotten that he has Cleopatra. So how can he decide move on from this? So Thankforpie, let's have a look from his perspective. He's He's not got huge amounts of wood, but he's doing pretty well, and he's just pulling back. He's getting some more wood, and he's not producing. He hasn't even got the batch, the conscription for batch speeding upgrade, which is really, really important. Like, really important. They could absolutely do with that. And now it looks like Stockfish is going to attempt to put that onward expansion in. He briefly attempted to put either a civic centre or a military colony up there. It wasn't possible, but now, look, he hasn't actually bothered to. He's got these 2 fortresses and this military colony, so he's not felt the need to build another civic centre. In fact, he's building a civic centre over here, which will bring into play this metal and possibly even that stone. So that was a brief triumph, if you will, from Thankforpie of getting the civic centre down was really a Pyrrhic victory. He's on the back foot despite having done that. Now he is producing an elephant, or an elephant, and it is literally an elephant. That's all that he has. Okay, if these spearmen can get in amongst the slingers, then the elephants will have done their job, because if they can do it, they will take down the slingers in no time once they're actually amongst them, and it looks very much like that is what is happening. They've lost a lot of slingers. The spearmen are doing a great job, and now that they're in amongst them, yeah, you can see the elephants have taken a lot of the fire. Okay, he's lost a lot of elephants, but it's completely decimated the Thankforpie's army, absolutely down to 18 slingers from what was 60 or 70 at the start. Over here, they're just trying to reclaim this storehouse, just so they can deposit some of their stone or metal, was it? I forget. It's metal, and it's metal that they need. And there's an elephant, or 2 elephants, just sat guarding some metal. Okay, so now he pulls back again, and perhaps, like, I don't know quite why he's standing his troops just outside of the range where they would actually start healing, but he needs to get them back inside that range, and he could do with some healers as well, and he could do with repairing this. This is going to go down in no time. The elephant will take that out in a couple of swipes. There it goes. No, the elephant's given up on it, and it's on 18 health. I have no idea why they are not rebuilding that. Just rebuild it. Okay, or repair it rather. This is going to go down, but to arrows from this. Insane. That was a real possibility to move on. Right, we have a military colony coming up in the centre of the map. Thankforpie thinks that it's his opportunity. It's really to and fro this game. Much like the first one, it was only the last game was obviously, if you saw that, if you didn't, then go and watch it. You should be watching these in order anyway. It's much more interesting to see them with the context of what's happened in previous games, influencing the decisions. But yeah, the first game was so back and forth. Why are these guys running past the elephant? They could take it out in no time, and in fact they are. You can see the elephant is in all kinds of trouble and a whole world of hurt, and it's gone. Right, he is now healing up some of his soldiers, but only some, and not for a huge amount of time. To be honest, why not leave those guys within the range, getting the help that they need? What's he got here? A couple of elephants and a few other people going round the outside. Is that actually just... yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that is, whereas these elephants, it's very clear what their purpose is. From Thankforpie's perspective, he doesn't know they're coming, and if they can get into around here before he realises there's a good chance they can take out the civic centre, but he has got skirmishers back, so that is the ideal troop to defend against the elephants. So let's see what happens. These guys are coming the other side as well, so he's going to try and pincer them. If he keeps things moving at the centre, he really needs to get these guys with far less of a distance, build a storehouse out here or out here and stop them having to run quite so far. As this has finally been picked up. He's got all of the upgrades. Didn't build a library, interestingly, and here they come. So neither's gone for the library on either occasion. Okay, this now is very interesting. These guys, that's going to be taken out in no time, but equally he's got to try and defend his, well, assuming this elephant stops just running on the spot. What is it doing? Yeah, it's that, sometimes, how is it? Well, I mean, yeah, he's running on the spot. I don't really know. He's kind of caught, and once he destroys this thing, then that will free the other elephant to move, hopefully, and it does. But this now looks quite grim for them. He's got a load of elephants coming here. I think that the only unit from the fortress he's produced has been elephants. Okay, the civic centre's down, as expected. The barracks are all going down. Yet he can't produce any more troops. Thankforpie is in huge trouble at this stage. He's on 165 population, but he's got no way of enhancing that population. All he can build is stuff from the fortress at the moment. So he's just taking his elephants back. That's strange. This is a great opportunity for Stockfish to really pour onwards. No, this is the only building he can produce soldiers from at the moment. Well, not just soldiers, produce anyone, any citizens whatsoever. And yeah, and he's not. So I don't know what he's saving his resources for. He needs soldiers. He's got plenty of metal. Start producing them, because you really need to. Even if you're just going to produce women to chop down these trees, just get something going. Is this another temple? It absolutely is. Makes sense. Keeps on pushing outwards with his temples. These guys are being tracked by a large number of soldiers. The elephants are going to be taken out. He has given up on that. He's still producing elephants. If we go back, let's have a look at this. This is producing nothing. This one's producing nothing. I'm going to add these to hotkeys, actually. It's just so we can find out what he's producing. So that, yeah. So on 2 we have all the buildings, and that Thankforpie has. If he loses this, which he is in great danger of doing, this could very much be, or very well be, the end of the game as far as he's concerned. There's not a lot. That's, yeah, now all he has is a fortress that he can produce from. He's got no civic centre, nothing. He's lost control of this. He's built another military colony, and he's starting to get his slingers farming. Not particularly efficient, but what are you going to do about that? Okay, these guys, they're all virtually dead. He's losing soldiers at quite a fast rate. Is he producing? Oh, he's finally bringing. Oh no, it's not even his Cleopatra. It's the other Cleopatra into the game. But you can see Thankforpie has been being pushed right back. I'm just going to pick. Why will it not let me? Oh, that's weird. Okay, being strange there. I wanted to put them all on the control group. It's not letting me for some reason. If anyone knows why, then yeah, please let me know, because that's something that I've found very odd. I don't know why it would not be happy to add anything to control groups, but it just isn't working for some reason. Okay, never mind. So he's not producing anything from that. He's not producing anything from here. He's producing 15 skirmishers from one barracks. He's got another barracks where he's producing 15 skirmishers, and another barracks where he's producing 15 skirmishers. So he's going to have 45 skirmishers joining the fray very shortly. This is another effort to control a bit more territory, but it's really not going as he might have liked. He's really struggling to, well, both sides actually are struggling to really get a proper grip on this. What do we have? That's going to finally get him some more metal, but you know, Stockfish has double the population because Thankforpie hasn't really been able to produce anything, but he is starting to rebuild that infrastructure now, which will give him a chance to come back. That was like a window of opportunity, has now passed for Stockfish. If he could have just pushed on a little bit further, here come these groups of about the 15 skirmishers at a time, so there's 45 skirmishers. But he could do with actually solidifying his position, he's starting to look at getting resources as a priority. These guys, get yourself a couple of priests, really, enhance that thing, or get some of the upgrades. If you've got the resources, those Stockfish, no, you don't. Okay, so that's why. But you could get a priest. Yeah, you could easily get 2 priests there, and they would be a big boost for you at this stage. He's got people in his siege towers. This is finally getting built. He's got 4 siege towers, and we're starting to see groups of soldiers being built, although it looks like he's only really got wood, and in fact he hasn't even got wood now. His resource is really, really struggling, but he's producing soldiers rather than he's producing spearmen rather than any kind of range infantry, and that in itself is going to have an impact on how useful he can be. I'm not quite sure why you'd leave your elephant out of the range of it being healed when it's so close to death. If it was just sat here, within this range here, it would be going up at 1 hit point per second or something similar, but still that's better than going up at no hit points per second. He's starting to get some metal. He's doing some bartering in exchange for wood. Stockfish does have plenty of wood. He's got plenty of resources, full stop, other than food, which he is just possibly bartering away, or he is using to build. No, he's got, I think he's right up at 172, and feels like we're back in a position we were in about 10 minutes ago. Nothing additional's actually been gained for all of that time. There's been no improvement in either person's position. It's very kind of trench warfare though. Oh, this elephant is finally getting healed, and in doing so he's actually got attracted to these and will be killed. So maybe that's why he was left further away. He's now died as a result of attempting to be healed. Okay. These siege towers are pushing onwards. I mean, both sides look, on the face of it, so they have farming. Yeah, we've got these 4. This is interesting. Cleopatra coming through, and she is presumably going to just shoot all of these farmers. Whereas these guys are farming on. He's got 6 fields. Is that what's happening here? Yeah, all of the women getting picked off one by one. And because it's happening actually in conjunction with this big attack, there is a very good chance that won't be realised. And the elephants were just at the point where they were going to take out one of the siege towers and then turned around. Bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Quite why that happened, I'm not sure, but here, that's it, that's the end. Is she trying to shoot? Yeah, it looks like she's just trying to shoot out the fields. That's going to take a long time to kill fields with arrows. This group of soldiers are just here. There's no real pressure being applied. The population is still about 25-30% higher. than Thankforpie, but isn't able to really push on. But Thankforpie realised he has no food. That could prove critical. He's down to 57 food, and I don't think he realises all of his farmers are dead. So he's not going to be able to produce anything more, and he's going to have to look at how he can do something. That was really a lovely little tactic. They're very cheeky. These guys are finally building another military colony to replace the one that was put out there right at the beginning of the game by Thankforpie, so that will give him access to the metal and a load of wood, which is obviously very helpful. But now we can see, he is now, I think, moving all of his women back in an effort to get some people on those fields, because he has very, very little in the way of food. In fact, just very, very little in the way of resources. I would expect Stockfish is certainly ahead in this, but he hasn't yet won. If he's not careful, these cavalry are going to come in and kill his soldiers. They looks like they might be backing off. And once again, he's now got some bolt shooters to defend against those siege towers, so he is making an effort. At last, they can't quite destroy any of it. I've never seen anything like it. Like how these bolt shooters have been finally. Sorry, the siege tower. One of them is knocked out, and he moves his bolts further forward. But these will make it virtually impossible now if he gets those set up. So you got 6 of them. They will make it impossible for him to bring his siege towers through the centre. Is he producing anything else from those? Nope. That's it. So he's given up on the idea of elephants being the way to destroy the siege towers, and he's moved on to a new idea of these bolt shooters. And let's see, are these things actually being hit? They are, and yet you can see it's lost half of its health already. And this is looking particularly poor. That one is 43. Is it going to go down? 24. Gone. So he's done a good job there of succouring the siege towers in. Here come, once again, he's got a group of soldiers coming round. They're struggling to contain them. Thankforpie's he's short of resources, and to be blunt, he's a bit out of ideas. He doesn't have a way round this resource-wise. He's going to struggle to formulate anything. He needs, if he can, just to actually take a step back and, well, if it's possible, he needs to try and rebuild his economy, but that's incredibly difficult. He's got 17 women working these fields. What's he have in terms? That's Stockfish. So he's still got nothing really in the way of resources whatsoever. He can't produce anything, and he's producing elephants. When he's so short of food to buy something or to train, whatever you call it, something that's so resource intensive and so vulnerable as elephants, at this stage, it doesn't feel like the sensible thing to do. I think he could, if he has, I don't know, maybe he's short of the wood, but I think he could have started producing skirmishers. He seems to have some metal. Well, he's producing elephants, so he must have some, but that elephant's not going to do anything on its own. It will just be taken out in no time whatsoever. Another siege tower. These guys unpacking will cause huge difficulties for Thankforpie, and I think this, now with that siege weapon support, he's in a much stronger position to really push on and actually make a big thing of this. These guys, he's done well. He's also produced quite cleverly these spearmen, which will give him the defence against any cavalry that are coming around that way, which is going to be very helpful. He's tried to keep his elephants safe, and it's all I think it's all coming to a head now. This must be the end. I mean, Thankforpie, he's incredibly resilient though. He's looked out, like down and out, a lot of times. But this is going down. It looks like he's desperately going to try and repair it, or no, he's just getting his soldiers to form some sort of attack. But this is gone. And with that, a lot of his food economy disappears again. And why is this elephant? Oh, it's going to attack the fortress. Interesting. He's going to find it very difficult for these guys to survive. What's down to 78 population, and of that, these 10 will be killed very shortly. What does he have in his base? This elephant continues to just attack the fortress, but is going to be attacked by another one. I can't really see a way back at this stage. But he continues to fight on and is continuing to produce soldiers. So he's doing, his level of tenacity and resilience is really is exceptional. But I think overall he has just been, actually relatively comfortably beaten. In the end, there's not been a point at which Thankforpie ever looked like winning the game. But that said, he's had a couple of occasions where he's looked like losing it, and he's managed to come back from the brink. So you have to say well played from that perspective, because it's very easy to just to lose faith. And here we go. It was. I thought that was going to be the killer moment, but not. Can he produce? He's still got double the population, but Stockfish just doesn't quite have that killer blow. He just can't land it. He is producing some more bolt throwers here, and will he be able to, if he could just gain control of the centre, which he's starting to do through the use of these bolts. If these guys could just put a military colony up, and he could get, therefore, his troops healed much more closely or much closer to the opposition's territory, then I think that would be the killer blow he needs to land. But you have to say these little moves here of that he's short of wood. We could do with, or actually, is he short of wood? No, he's got more wood than you could imagine. Got thousands, 5,000, which is basically all the wood. If we look at Thankforpie, he's got nothing. So no wonder he's not producing any wood. But what can Thankforpie do? He can just produce slingers, and they're moving together as a group. Will he simply be able to camp out on the doorstep of Thankforpie? If he was able to do that, just to get a military colony up right where he is now, get that's the end. It's game over. It looks like, Thankforpie has lost anyway. He was very much on the back foot, and that was the end. But it looks like he just quit the game before actually suffering that defeat officially. But we'll certainly put that one up as a victory for Stockfish. That makes it 2-1. So let's wait and see if Thankforpie can come back in the next game. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you for match 4.